Hey guys, part 3, my single story and what I wish I had done differently, or lessons to the younger guy who's dealing with the things I dealt with.
Things that you learned looking back.
That's right. God bless. I became a Christian at 13, really wanted to earnestly serve the Lord, and so I had this thing in my heart that the first girl I dated would be my wife. When I was about 15, there was this great drama that came into town, the silver ring thing. And this pastor was basically illustrating a story. He took 2 planks, bunch of wood glue, and he's like, this is what happens when you have sex. And he sticks the 2 planks together. And he's like, 2 people become one flesh when they have sex. And so we're like, okay. And then all of a sudden, the lights in the auditorium go dark. And everyone's like, what's going on? What's going on? And this chainsaw, what's going on? What's going on? It's at the end of the presentation. And this chainsaw starts up. And the lights are all flashing, and this guy in a hockey goalkeeper mask comes out and just goes to town on this plank with his chainsaw. And then lights come on, he walks off, and there's pieces of wood all over the stage. He picks up the 2 kind of messed up planks, and he's like, this is what you have to do to get out of that. If you want to get out of that, you're going to carry with you pieces of the other plank throughout the rest of your life. And it's going to take a lot to get yourself back into a place where you can now bond with another plank again. And it was a great little illustration on becoming one flesh. It made a huge impression on me, and I'm very grateful for that. Very thankful for that teaching. I think because of that is what kept me from the many opportunities to sleep around. It really put a desire in me to marry a virgin wife. And so probably when I was about 16 or 17, also at youth group, ironically, so the good sides of youth group, the bad sides of youth group. One of my youth group leaders brought up to me, what did I think about this girl? Did I think she was attractive? Did I like her? It was something that I hadn't been thinking on, that whole thing of don't awaken love until the right time. It awoke in me, obviously, an interest to, or maybe a permission to start dating around and pursuing girls. So I started dating this girl in high school. Looking back now, the number one piece of advice that I have to young guys is that when you're in high school, you're not a man yet. You don't live on your own. You aren't earning an income. You're not ready to get married. And this kind of applies going forward into university for a lot of guys as well. But basically, if you aren't able to marry a girl and start a family, what are you doing dating? Because that's the point of dating. The point of dating is, let's get married. So what I wish someone had said to me as a teenager is, don't date around until you're a man. Until you're working, you are able to stand on your own 2 feet. Then by all means, go to town. Look for a pretty girl, get married. So instead, focus on crushing at your domain. So as a high school student, that's going to be school and sports and friends. Max that out, go hard at your schoolwork. Be excellent there. Go hard at your sports. Be excellent there. And make wonderful memories with your friends. That freedom of time to make friendships and go and do things together is a wonderful time in your life to do that. Instead, if you're busy chasing girls rather than doing all of that, it's a waste of time. You can chase girls in your 20s. In high school, you should have different priorities. And so for those of you who are in college and who are dating right now, I would say the same thing. What is stopping you from getting married to your, if you have a girlfriend right now, what is stopping you from getting married? And, maybe the objections would be like, well, we don't earn money, or we don't have a house, or her parents wouldn't allow it, or my parents wouldn't allow it. And it's like, you're a child. You shouldn't be dating until such a time as you can make man decisions of, yeah, we'll get married, we'll live together. And just to encourage you, if you are serious about this relationship and you want to become a man and you want to get married in college, that's a wonderful thing. It'll actually be an awesome thing for you. 2 can live as cheaper than 1, perhaps. There's even things to look into of scholarships or stipends or whatever you would call it from universities for married people. It might be a cheaper semester if you're a married person. Likewise, you're not wasting your money going out and impressing girls and dating because now you're married and you can actually enjoy being married. I think married entertainment can be cheaper than dating entertainment.
Totally. How much of your single life is involved going out for the sake of trying to meet people? Mm-hmm. And then when you're married, you just want to stay home.
Yeah. And also, because, and this is quite vulnerable, I think for a lot of people it might be awkward, but at the same time, as if you're a Christian, again, we read that statistic in the first video, but 80 to 90% of single Christians are sleeping around, feeling guilty, feeling ashamed. You're functionally married. Why not get married for real? And you can have guilt-free lovemaking, you can live with your best friend, you can enjoy college together married, if that's what you want to do. If you don't want to do that, then I highly recommend breaking up and just avoiding girls until such a time as you can make those decisions. It'll save you a ton of time, ton of money, ton of shame, ton of regret, ton of anxiety, and it'll allow you to crush at the thing that you should be crushing at, which is school, sports, friendships.
Which then would that tie into your advice on like boundaries and timelines?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so after school, I dated 2 girls, and one of the things that I had seen for a lot of the churches I had been in was couples dating for 3-4 years. And it's like, why are you doing that? Why are you that is insufferable. It's like, as a guy, and again, it always comes back to this thing of, again, 80% of Christian couples are probably sleeping together anyway. But for someone who's got a conviction to not do that, that's almost an impossible timeline. Again, the advice to, if you do have a girlfriend, you are ready to get married, or you're able to get married, put it that way. Put a timeline on yourself of 3 to 6 months. Of within 3 to 6 months, we break up or we get married. Because that allows you to really set a boundary of, I don't have to cross any sexual boundaries here, and it forces me to get to the point of, what am I looking for in a wife? Because so many people are like, well, you've got to know them for 4 seasons. No, you're looking for a girl who you want to meet her family. Do you like her family, how she was raised? Can you address the issues of how she was raised compared to how you were raised? And then, are you going to help my mission? So if you're in college and you're wanting to study a certain thing and go on a certain career track, is she going to be helpful to me down the line in my future? Is she going to adapt herself to me? Or am I going to have to adapt myself to her, put her career first? Am I going to have to support her goals and her mission? Those are the sort of things you're looking for, and you can find that out within 3 months. Because again, if you put a deadline on something, you get it done within the deadline. If there's no deadline, you'll procrastinate and procrastinate and procrastinate, and then 2-3 years goes by, you're frustrated, you're ashamed, you're guilt, you're obligated, all this stuff, and you still don't know if you want to marry her or not. Whereas, like, you could have had an enjoyable marriage for the last 3 years and actually started building your life together, but instead it's the suspended childhood.
You say 3 to 6 months now because you think it can be done in 3 to 6 months, but at that time in your life, your limit was a year, and then as the year approached, do you want to share that story?
Yeah, as the year approached, this incredible anxiety came up because I'd set myself a deadline of a year. And again, deadlines make action. And so I had incredible anxiety because I wasn't ready for marriage. I was at a rugby academy, which is basically a college environment. I wasn't earning money that could support a family. I wasn't out on my own. I was very much dependent on my family and dependent on being a student. And so that realization within me was like, I can't get married. I mean, I could have, but I was afraid.
And she was a bit older than you, so she was ready to have children right away, and...
Yeah, so the expectation was very much beyond where I was at. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And so many guys that are like, oh, I don't know, should I, shouldn't I? Is this the one? Isn't this? Whereas if you just put a 3-month deadline on, there isn't that full year of obligation of, well, now we've spent a year together, all of our social life is together, all of our church life is together, all of our free time has been together, and there is this incredible, you start becoming one, even if there isn't sexual boundaries crossed or whatever, you do start becoming one emotionally, in your lifestyle, in your friendship groups, in your identity. And so 3 months is a great deadline to set yourself of, I don't mind spending a ton of time getting to know this person for 3 months and get right to the point of the matter of, is she going to be a good helpmeet to my life? And am I ready to get married?
Would you say that because you knew in your mind you had a year, so you didn't need to get to the...
Yeah, we could just enjoy the dating. Oh, we're just enjoying each other's company, enjoy the friendship. Yeah. And it's like, that's not why you're doing this.
Yeah. Then it makes it harder when you do break up. Because of the investment in time, money, and energy.
Definitely. If you date a girl for a while and you break up with her,
which takes a lot of courage to actually break up.
Yeah, especially in a church environment where if you share friendship groups, you share a church, all this kind of stuff, everyone else is expecting you to get married. Everyone else is already seeing, especially once you go past the 3-month mark, it's like, oh, they're a thing now, of course they're going to get married, it's just a matter of time. So to break up is a very awkward and embarrassing thing for everyone involved. It can split friendship groups, it can make church awkward. It's a real hard thing to do. So a ton of people don't break up out of fear for all of the trouble that it'll bring, and then they just stay in
Well, I was going to say, we knew someone who was involved in a church, was dating his girlfriend, broke up with his girlfriend, and because a lot of the leaders loved this girl, they pretty much shamed him into getting back with her. Mm-hmm. So those are dynamics that are very real.
The obligation side of you feeling bad or being shamed into marrying a girl that maybe is not the best for you. The point of all of that is understanding your times. If you're in high school or in college, you're not in a position to get married majority of the time. And if you want to get married, that's also probably fine. You can get married at 18 if you want. You need to be an independent man who can make his own decisions. And unfortunately, that's not the majority of young men in college these days. One more point on the high school and college age dynamic is that you're going to be in a lot of friendship groups with a bunch of pretty girls that you find attractive. And so one thing that I wish I was told and that is the very real dynamic is that there is no friendship between guys and girls. There's no such thing as just friends. If a girl is hanging around a guy, she likes him. If a guy's hanging around a girl, he likes her. So mixed friendship groups are awesome if you're ready to get married, because it's a no pressure way to get to know a bunch of girls in a safe environment, see how they react to things, see how they interact with other people. What a wonderful way to meet girls if you are ready to get married. But if you're not ready to get married and you have no business dating, those friendship groups can be very awkward. What ends up happening is if you're not advancing on any girls, if you're not showing interest in any girls, you might have girls start showing interest in you and start trying to make advances on you. And then what do you do with that? Are you polite? Do you entertain them? Now are you leading girls on? Are you oblivious to it and just think, well, we're friends? And it just leads to tons of awkward stuff.
And then would you say to sometimes where guys end up dating girls just because a girl pursued them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that happened to me with one of my girlfriends. Is I was in a mixed friendship group with 10, 11 really pretty girls who all loved the Lord. I could pursue any of these girls, but at the same time, I think I kind of knew I probably shouldn't because I'm really not ready to get married. Also, this is a hard decision to make. Abundance of choices. And so one of the girls pursued me. Oh, okay, she's pretty. Sure, let's see where this goes. I was a college-age boy, not ready for marriage, not standing on my own 2 feet. And so it was just terrible timing, not understanding the times. For both of us, the girl should have been looking for an older guy who was ready to get married.
Because this is the one who was older than you.
Yeah. And I should have been not mixing around with a bunch of girls enjoying their attention. I should have been crushing at sports and school. So understand the dynamics of friendship groups. If you're going to put yourself in a mixed friendship group, either be straight out, clear, I'm a man nun, avoiding all girls.
Which will probably make girls more interested in you.
Yeah, but then you can be rude and not
You're being
accept
honest.
all of their advances. The next point is on egalitarianism. So I grew up very egalitarian, libertarian boy who just wanted to be a good, nice Christian guy. We were told all these things of if you just follow God, then a girl who's just following God and you'll meet at God. And that's not actually the case, because being an egalitarian, being an androgynous guy makes you end up usually idolizing girls, being really afraid of upsetting them, always wanting to be a servant to the lady and be like, well, what do you want to do? And whatever makes you happy. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to base my life around you. And that's not every guy. God bless the guys who don't have to work out from behind that baggage.
And that's not masculinity.
No. And so, that's something that I had to come out of, is this egalitarian mindset. And so one of my girlfriends, I was very egalitarian. She was very career orientated, academic, wanted to get all of her qualifications, all this kind of thing. And so, of course, being an egalitarian nice guy, I was like, well, I will help you with your career and your goals. And ended up basing my life around her goals.
So with her, what would you have done? Or what do you wish someone had told you?
Yeah, and my brother did tell me this, to my shame, and God bless my brother. But a girl adapts herself to your life. She follows your life. She follows your goals. She helps your goals. You don't adapt to her life. You don't adapt and follow her goals. And so I was like, but no, bro, trust me, it'll be fine. It was not fine. And so my brother was right. And so the big lesson from egalitarianism, coming out of the popular culture of egalitarianism, is that two androgynous people will end up, one of them will end up being the masculine and the other will end up being the feminine. And if it's the guy who ends up being the feminine, you are against your nature. And same for the girl, she's against her nature. And so there ends up being this incredible
resentment.
Yeah, just a turmoil in your life of we're not living how God intended us to live.
Yeah.
So after I broke up with her, again, dealing with all of this obligation, all of the shame, this guilt. And thankfully I did have a friend who gave me very good advice. And he said, bro, there's thousands of girls out there who would be a good helpmeet for you. There's not a lack. There's no, because, you know, inside, I think every guy or girl who dates for a long time, it's like, well, they're the one. My whole life is with them. My identity's in them.
Am I ever going to meet anyone else?
Am I ever going to meet anyone else?
I've missed it.
Yeah, fear of missing out. And so a lot of Christians return to a past girlfriend, a past boyfriend. And so, again, the advice there is, no, there is an abundance. There's an abundance of partners who would be a good helpmeet to you.
Would you say, too, that, like, after breaking up, you kind of look back with rose-colored glasses
Definitely.
and you start remembering all the positive things and you forget all the problems?
Definitely.
And so your friend saying that was, like, reminding you, no, that there was a reason you broke up?
Yep, definitely so. And so with that abundance mindset comes this putting away of the old, forgiving yourself, forgiving the other person, just cleaning out your past regrets, hurts, disappointments, shames, all that kind of stuff. But you have to get back to the place of, okay, there is an abundance out there. God does have a wonderful someone out there who would be many people out there who would be a good fit for me, a good helpmeet to me. But I have to make myself a person who is high value and a good fit for that person to be attracted to me. And so we have tons of guys saying, well, where do you find trad girls? Where do you find a trad girl? Do you know any trad girls? Are there trad girls around? There probably are thousands of trad girls around. But if you're not a trad guy, they're not going to want you. So the first part in being a more traditional guy, a more masculine guy, is learning to hold frame versus being controlled by a woman's emotions. That's a real hard lesson for nice guys or effeminate guys or androgynous guys to have to learn, is to be the one who holds frame of, I don't mind if everyone else is upset with me. I don't mind if everyone else is not enjoying themselves. Here's what I'm trying to do. Here's where I'm going. Here's my direction. Here's my vision. Here's my values. And I'm not deviating from that. This is what I want to achieve in my life. And that way, when a girl comes along, I'm not like, oh, veer off and go pursue a girl. It's like, no, I'm going here and a girl can join me on my mission, on my goal. That's holding frame. So often you see this with married couples. The wife controls the guy through her emotions and through passive aggressiveness, being upset anytime she doesn't get her way. And so as a guy, again, all these guys are gonna be like, where do you find a trad girl? And it's like, you know, I wasn't really a trad guy.
No,
You weren't a trad girl.
No.
We just realized once we were married of, oh wow, being married is awesome. I'm more attracted to you when you're feminine. You're more attracted to me when I'm masculine. This feels better. This feels right. We started, thankfully, going down this path of the masculine and the feminine.
Word.
Yeah, taking God at his word.
I was thinking when you were talking earlier, would you say that being in a lot of church environments are actually very feminine, which makes guys more feminine? Because when you were saying about being assertive and holding frame, in a lot of churches, it's the women.
A lot of churches encourage women to be risky and aggressive and assertive and masculine because, and it's the same in the corporate world, but girls are awesome at running bureaucracies, at running organizations and making sure that everything's clean and organized and tidy and hosted. Whereas men are good at building, fighting, and protecting. It's that proverb where it says, where the oxen is, the barn is dirty. But much gain comes from the work of an ox. And so if you want a clean church, if you want a clean corporation, get rid of all the men. But if you want gain, if you want productivity and building and protecting, then you're going to need men. But then that comes with, men are uncomfortable, men are rude, men are dangerous, men are mean. Risks. And so unfortunately, a lot of churches that we've been in, this is not all churches, but a lot of churches that we've been in growing up, the girls are encouraged to be risk takers and assertive and ambitious. Yeah. Whereas the men are told to be servants. You've got to serve, you got to serve, you got to serve. And so what ends up happening is you get these incredibly risk-averse men and these incredibly ambitious woman in those environments. And so the lessons from this is you want to become a patriarch. That's the biggest lesson out of all of this. A 14-year-old boy can start absorbing this lesson. And I mean, in the Jewish culture, the Old Testament culture, boys became men at age 13. So you want to become a patriarch. And a patriarch is all about building wealth in your work, your domain. What is the passion and the skill and the talent that God has put in your life to go do? You want to start going and building excellence at that. A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. That's status. And unfortunately, again, in the church, so many men think that they're called to the ministry domain. And you end up getting all these theology bros and all these missionaries and all these worship leaders and all these preachers and pastors. 80% of them shouldn't be there. 80% of them should be doing something else in the other domains out in public, taking dominion for the Lord in other domains. The ministry domain is an awesome thing, but like if you look at the archetype in the Bible of the Levites, probably 1 in 12, right? The Levites were 1 out of 12. They were the priests. Probably 1 in 12 guys, like 8% of dudes should be in the ministry. The rest of us should all be crushing in business, in media, in academia, in government. There's so many different domains for you to go and absolutely go give your gift, be talented, gain status in society. So that with that status comes influence. We want to influence our world. We want to be the ones who are influencing how culture happens, how society takes place. We want to be the leaders of that. That's one of the main things of being a patriarch. Then, alongside that comes building your family and your legacy. You've built all this influence, you've built all this wealth. To what purpose? Abraham says to God, he's like, God, you've given me all this stuff. You've given me victory in battle. You've given me great wealth. You've given me land. What does any of this matter if you do not give me children? And so the desire to pass on that influence, pass on that wealth, comes through marriage and children. And then your children basically emulate you in society. So whoever you are, your children start from your base, and you are giving them an inheritance so that they can then pursue their talents, their gifts, their domain, and become even bigger patriarchs, better patriarchs than you were. And so for a lot of guys, they'll look and be like, I don't know what my mission is. I don't know what God's calling me to. He's calling you to be a patriarch. Be a patriarch at the things that you're excited about, the things you're passionate about. If you have a random hobby or a skill or something that you just love thinking about and doing and spending your time and money on, how do you be the best at it? Go be God's top guy in that domain. Go be God's best man in that domain. And then a wife can join you in your mission of being a patriarch. A wife can join your frame of wealth, influence, family.
And then how would you say a guy would know if his wife is, because I think that goes in line with how do you find a trad girl? How can you tell? How can a man or a guy tell if a girl's going to help his mission?
Yeah, I think how willing is she to come along with you and do all the things you want to do? Is she cheerful? Is she helpful? Does she want you to be successful at the thing that you find passionate and exciting? If she doesn't want to go to your show, if she doesn't want to go to your hobby, if she doesn't want to go to your church, if she doesn't want to support your work and what you're doing, but she wants you to do all that for her, go to her hobby, go to her church, go to her show, go to her work, then it's you are now the helpmeet. You're the one who's excited about her life and is trying to promote and push her mission. And that's where you end up with a matriarchal society where everything is catered around how do we make women happy when statistically half the culture is on antidepressants. The last thing is, how do guys become more attractive to girls? And that all comes through confidence in your domain. A lot of guys, again, I'm going to reiterate this point because I wish it was reiterated to me. Ministry is probably not your domain. In fact, for the majority of guys, I'm going to say ministry is not your domain. If that's a hobby on the side, God bless, that's wonderful. A ton of men lose all of their energy and time into the church as a domain, thinking I'm going to become an elder, I'm going to become a pastor, a missionary, a worship leader, a theologian, whatever it is. And that happens because so many people who are in the ministry put zero value on things that are outside the walls of the church. We need more Christian men in business. We need more Christian men in academia. We need more Christian men in media. We need more Christian men in sports, in government, in bureaucracy, in local politics, in trades, in farming, agriculture. We need Christian men to go out and take dominion in all these other domains. Entertainment. whatever the domain you can think of that you're passionate about, that's probably where you're called to. If you've got a passion for it and you would not only do it for free, but pay to go and do it, that's probably the domain that God is calling you to go and do. Go become excellent at that. Go take dominion in that place. Be confident in that place. That's how you become attractive to a girl. Girls love men who are confident. They're crushing at the thing that they're crushing at. This is what I love to do, and I'm going to explain it to you for 2 hours because this is what I'm excited to do. That's what girls find attractive, is a man who's confident. And then if you're confident at that thing, and all the other guys in your hierarchy, in your domain, are like, wow, that guy's really cool, that's called social proof. That's called status. That's what women are attracted to. And again, it's this taboo thing to say that. Guys are attracted to beautiful girls. Oh, that's taboo, you can't say that. Well, it's the truth. Guys are attracted to beautiful girls. Girls are attracted to high status guys. Oh, you can't say that. It's the truth. Girls are attracted to high status guys who are confident. Other men think that those men are cool and are crushing. Well, so will girls.
I'm just thinking of, it's the like picture of ugly professional athlete married to a gorgeous model. Like, you see that with professional athletes, and it's like, because he's high status and she's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. There it is. Out of all of this, understand your times. If you're a young guy, your first mission is to be a patriarch. Avoid girls, go crush. Be a patriarch. Wealth, influence. Understand who God has made you to be. What is your domain? How do I go give my gift? How do I become high status in the things that I care about? And then look for a girl who would be helpful and adapt herself to you and what you're trying to do. And that can be at 18. At 18, you don't have to be wealthy and fully successful, because, to be honest, you're not going to be a success at being a patriarch till you're 60 or 80. That's when you can look back and be like, I've run my race. I am a success. But your whole life, you should be crushing all the way up to 80, 90, 100, however long the Lord gives you to live. So you can be 18, know that you need to be a patriarch, and start working toward that and have zero to show for it, but you're confident and you have a vision. Awesome. Get married to a woman who believes in your vision, likes your confidence, and wants to get on board with where you're going. And a lot of guys would be like, well, what if I don't look for a girl in high school, I'm never going to find a girl again. Or if I don't look for a girl at college, I'm never going to find a girl again. That fear of missing out. If you crush at your mission and focus on building status, the more valuable you become, which means the more selection of girls that you have available to you. And so you can be 25, you'll have more wealth than an 18-year-old, you'll have more momentum than an 18-year-old, you'll have hopefully more status and confidence and idea of where you're going. You're actually more attractive than an 18-year-old guy. So you have more options of girls. You just need to put yourself in a place to find those girls. If you're at a church for the last 5 years and it's all the same girls, and you've asked couples around there to try and help matchmake you and nothing's happening, go to a church who will help you. Go find older couples or friends who are married who will help you to get married. That is how you can be proactive in finding suitable girls to you, is go and put yourself in positions where there's different groups of girls. Don't stay in the same place and just hope that she'll fall across your path. And then once you do find these girls, go see who their couple is that's mentoring them, or their parents, and go have dinner with all of them. Have game nights, be in public around them, see how they are in public. And obviously have boundaries. You know, you don't want to invest into a girl longer than you need to. So put a 3-month boundary on it of, I'm going to learn everything I can about this girl in 3 months. And then if she's not good for me, if I'm not good for her, then praise God, God bless you, move on. I think a lot of Christian guys are afraid of, like, well, I've dated 3 girls now, that I've got a stigma attached to me that I date around. That's fine, just don't do it for years at a time. Don't be a serial long-term dater. Be a short-term dater who looks through his options, and then once you find a good option that you like, you're attracted to her, she's willing to be helpful to your mission, you've met her family, praise God, get married, start a family. I hope that's helpful for you guys. I know it's skimming a lot of things, so might have to do some more videos just on some more specific things.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there's any specifics you want Scott to go into, you can just put them in the comments section, or I'll put our email below if it's more of a personal question.
Praise God. God bless you guys.